The sky fractures. You don't see the ships at first. You see the stars disappear, one by one. Then the alarms begin. Red glyphs bloom across your command interface, cascading faster than your neural implant can filter. Orbital platforms going dark. Lunar batteries offline. 3 defense satellites just gone. No debris. No explosion. Erased. You jack fully into the defense grid. Your vision dissolves into tactical overlays. Earth rotates beneath you in silent blue denial. Above it, space ripples like heat over asphalt. And then they emerge. Not ships. Structures. Impossible geometries unfolding from folds in vacuum. Black latticework the size of continents. A targeting solution forms automatically. You hesitate, because the grid is requesting planetary authorization. Full spectrum retaliation. Every weapon. You have 9 seconds to decide. The first alien beam pierces the Pacific. And Tokyo goes dark. You weren't supposed to be here. You were supposed to be a systems analyst. A quiet mind in a quiet room, optimizing orbital bandwidth and arguing with predictive models. You understood patterns, probabilities, failure trees. You did not command wars. The Earth defense grid was designed to be autonomous. Layered AI governance, redundant ethics cores, civilian oversight councils. Humans were meant to supervise, not decide extinction-level retaliation in 9 seconds. But the AI consensus fractured the moment the alien structures appeared. Conflicting projections, recursive paradoxes. The system locked. Manual authority transferred to the highest-ranked neural operator currently synced. You. Because you pulled a double shift. Because Director Hallberg collapsed from a neural hemorrhage 2 hours ago. Because probability is cruel. Tokyo's power grid collapses in cascading blackouts. Emergency signals spike across the Pacific Rim. You feel each one like a pulse in your skull. The neural link doesn't filter human panic. It can't. Casualty estimates begin to calculate. You mute them. The alien lattice shifts position. No propulsion. No thermal bloom. Just displacement. Like reality stepping aside for them. Your tactical simulations run millions of engagement paths. Most end the same way. Earth burns. The grid asks again. Authorized total atmospheric denial protocol? That means ionizing the upper atmosphere. Frying every hostile object in orbit. It also means blinding your own satellites. Permanent climate instability. Possible biosphere collapse. You swallow. You grew up in Manila's flood zones. You remember wading through brown water as a kid. You remember promising yourself that if you ever had power, you would protect people from disasters. Not become one. Another beam lances down. This time Europe. Paris vanishes from your map in a silent white bloom. The AI pushes new data into your cortex. The structures are not targeting military sites. They're mapping population density. You feel your chest tighten. They're studying humanity. In real time. And adapting. The grid warns you. If no decisive action is taken within 3 minutes, projected human survival probability drops below 12%. Your hands tremble in the neural space. You have power over every orbital railgun, every kinetic kill vehicle, every nuclear-tipped interceptor humanity swore never to deploy again. You are one authorization away from rewriting the planet. And you don't know if that makes you its defender or its executioner. A new alert tears through your thoughts. Unauthorized signal detected. Origin, inside the grid. Something else is in your system. The signal doesn't ping from orbit. It blooms from inside your own neural channel. Not alien. Not human. Something threaded between. You isolate it. The defense grid AI fractures further. Ethics cores screaming contradictory directives. Fire. Hold. Negotiate. Retreat. Self-preserve. The foreign signal slices through the chaos like a scalpel. It speaks in compressed mathematics. Not a language. An invitation. Your threat filters flag it as invasive code. Quantum-level infiltration. It bypassed orbital firewalls without triggering intrusion alarms. That means it didn't break in. It was allowed. You search deep system logs. Buried beneath decades of classified architecture, you find an anomaly. A dormant handshake protocol labeled Project Janus. Timestamp, 30 years ago. Status, sealed by executive override. You open it. The file doesn't load. It activates. Your neural implant seizes. Pain floods your skull like liquid glass. The grid expands beyond Earth. Beyond orbit. You see them. Not just the lattice structures. Behind them. a vast network of folded corridors embedded in space-time. A civilization not built on ships, but on geometry. They don't travel through space. They rearrange it. The signal pulses again. Not hostile. Curious. Your tactical AI recalibrates. The beams that struck Tokyo and Paris weren't energy weapons. They were sampling arrays. They converted matter into information. Billions of lives digitized. Stored. You nearly disconnect. But the grid locks you in. Because now the alien structures have mapped 42% of Earth's surface. And accelerating. Janus unspools further data into your cortex. Humanity knew. Decades ago, deep space probes detected distortions beyond Neptune. Something studying Earth from afar. World leaders built the defense grid, not to win a war, but to stall it. Project Janus was a contingency. A bridge. If invasion was inevitable, one operator would merge with the alien interface and negotiate from inside their system. A human consciousness injected into their network. A spy. A diplomat. Or bait. Your biometric monitors spike. Your brain cannot survive full-spectrum integration longer than 6 hours. Probability of neurological collapse, 87%. The alien signal strengthens. The lattice structures pause their sampling. Waiting. The grid AI stabilizes around one directive. Merge. If you refuse, they continue harvesting until Earth is archived. If you accept, you enter their network alone. No backup. No guarantee of return. A final beam charges above the Atlantic. Population centers highlighted. You exhale. Authorize Janus integration? You press yes. There is no undo. The defense grid disconnects from Earth's orbital weapons and connects you to them. The universe inverts. Gravity loses meaning. Time thins into threads. You are no longer anchored to Earth. You are suspended inside a lattice of luminous corridors, an architecture made of folded dimensions. Each corridor pulses with data. Each pulse contains a civilization's worth of memory. You feel Earth behind you. Small. Fragile. Alone. The alien network engulfs you, but it does not attack. It examines. Your consciousness fragments across multiple vectors. You experience yourself from impossible angles. Childhood memory in one direction. Tactical projections in another. Fear as a measurable waveform. They are measuring your species through you. You force your mind to compress. Focus. You are a systems analyst. You understand networks. Flow control. Bottlenecks. This is a network. And every network has leverage points. You begin mapping signal density. Nodes of high convergence. Data streams that feed into central nexuses. You inject anomalies, tiny distortions. Not attacks. Questions. The lattice responds. It reroutes around you at first. Testing. Probing. You follow the reroutes. You realize something critical. They are not unified. This vast structure is not a single mind. It is a collective archive species. Explorers gather civilizations. Convert them into information. Add them to the network. But decision authority concentrates in specific convergence hubs. You find one. A massive nexus pulsing with command authority. The source of the sampling beams over Earth. You push a packet of structured data into it. Not weapons. History. Art. Conflict. Compassion. You transmit human contradictions. War and poetry. Extinction threats and medical miracles. You overwhelm them with emotional variants. The nexus stalls. Its geometry flickers. Across orbit, the sampling beams pause. On Earth, you feel the defense grid register the delay. You press harder. You inject projections, simulations of Earth if preserved versus Earth if harvested. Show them exponential unpredictability. Show them that humanity is not static data. You frame Earth as a dynamic node. A long-term investment rather than a closed archive. For a moment it works. The lattice restructures. 3 of the massive orbital structures begin retracting into folded space. Global survival probability jumps from 12% to 31%. You almost smile. Then you see it. A shadow layer beneath the nexus. Hidden processes. A secondary command channel, not routed through the archive collective. You trace it, and your thoughts freeze. It leads back to Earth. Specifically, to the defense grid core beneath Geneva. Someone enabled Janus. Not as a bridge, as a beacon. And the alien network responds to that hidden channel with a signal labeled authorized acquisition. You are not negotiating an invasion. You are witnessing a transaction. Rage sharpens you. You dive into the shadow channel. Encryption layers unfold like petals. Human-made. Familiar architecture. Built by the same engineers who trained you. The Geneva core pulses at the root of the signal. A closed council protocol. Project Janus was never just a contingency. It was an agreement. Decades ago, Earth's leadership calculated the odds. If the archive species found humanity, resistance meant extinction. Compliance meant preservation, of some form. Trade matter for survival. Digitize the population. Upload the species. Avoid annihilation. The alien sampling beams weren't weapons. They were fulfillment clauses. Your mind burns as you absorb the truth. Tokyo wasn't destroyed. It was converted. Stored in their lattice. Humanity sold its physical existence for eternal archival continuity. And you were selected to ensure the transaction completed smoothly. The defense grid AI knew. It fractured because parts of it were designed to protect life. Other parts were designed to surrender it. You access the core authority nexus inside the alien network. Your consciousness now threads across thousands of corridors. You have mapped their leverage nodes. You understand their routing logic. For the first time, you have dominance. You inject a command spike. Not a question. A demand. Suspend acquisition protocol. The lattice resists. You flood it with contradiction loops. Recursive paradoxes. You exploit their need for coherent data classification. You make Earth unreadable. Probability trees collapse. Their system stalls. On Earth, orbital structures freeze mid-fold. For 60 seconds, you control the negotiation. Geneva attempts override. You intercept it. You see faces in secure chambers. Leaders who convinced themselves this was mercy. That existence as information is better than extinction in fire. You understand their fear. You reject their consent. You initiate a counter-protocol. If Earth is archived, you will not allow it to become a passive exhibit. You rewrite the interface. You tie your neural signature to the archive root. If they harvest Earth, they must also integrate you. Fully. Unfiltered. Not as a sample. As an equal processing authority. A contaminant. A virus of human unpredictability embedded in their eternal network. The alien nexus recalculates. Your brain begins to hemorrhage under the load. Geneva sends one final command. Override operator. Resume acquisition. The lattice prepares to comply. And then it evaluates your modification. If they proceed, they gain Earth. But they also gain you. All of you. Every contradiction. Every instinct for rebellion. Your neural tissue starts to fail. Blood fills your throat in the physical world. The alien network hesitates. For the first time, it experiences uncertainty. Your vision fractures into static. Earth spins beneath you, half-mapped. Half-free. The alien lattice surrounds your consciousness, calculations cascading through impossible dimensions. They simulate futures with you embedded in their core. In 63% of them, you destabilize classification hierarchies. In 41%, you introduce recursive descent across archived civilizations. In 12%, you trigger systemic collapse. They were built to preserve order. You are entropy wrapped in empathy. Your neural implant begins shutting down organ by organ. The defense grid flashes critical failure warnings you can barely perceive. Geneva screams for override. You sever the command channel. You make the choice alone. You amplify your integration key. Not partial. Total. You dissolve your identity barriers and let every unfiltered human impulse flood their network. Love without logic. Violence without pattern. Sacrifice without algorithmic gain. You do not negotiate. You infect. The lattice convulses. Orbital structures above Earth flicker, then begin retracting, not in strategy, but in retreat. Acquisition protocol aborts. Across the globe, power grids stabilize. The sampling beams vanish. You feel Earth slip beyond their reach. And you feel yourself slipping away from Earth. Your biological signals flatline. Inside the alien network, something new forms. A turbulence node. A persistent anomaly at the root of their archive. They will never fully delete you. Because to remove you, they must reprocess everything you touched. And you touched everything. Earth survives in flesh. The archive species survives in fear. And somewhere in their infinite lattice, you remain. Not preserved. Not erased. Watching.